through this edit with you on 6-week-old sweet Danny and talk specifically about how I use the Liquify tool with newborns and with babies. So I'm just going to kind of go through my whole edit of this process and start there. So first things first, that background is going to drive me nuts. So let's create a new layer, which is Command J, and I'm just going to kind of clone this out. It doesn't have to be perfect right this second because we're going to go back in and mess around with it later. But for now, it'll be the only thing I can freaking look at. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, that's better. Shift Command E to go ahead and collapse my layers down. And we're going to do a handful of things. But the first thing I want to do is filter Liquify. Like I said, he is 6 weeks old. And so even to do anything on the poser is kind of a risk. But he was really, really good for us. And amazing little baby and had great eye connection too. So I'm simply going around. And if you look, there's a few tools on the left-hand side. The one that I like is the forward warp tool, otherwise known as the pokey tool. That was my favorite. There's also one here that will like squish things together. The pucker or the bloat will pull them out. So you can do that as well. But I really, really like to fine tune it and make those adjustments on like a smaller scale. So you'll see I'm kind of doing the overall big stuff and then I'm coming in and I'm just like rounding him out a little bit. If I were to try to squeeze him into the perfectly round little shape, he wouldn't be very comfortable, and it's always super important to me that babies in our studio are very comfortable. So, okay, that looks pretty darn good, just making sure all the edges are set. We have other videos on wrapping too, so you can look around for those if you want to see how I wrapped him. This is just a scarf from like the mall. Nothing too fancy. I'm going to hit OK, and now we have a nice round baby. The other thing that I might like to do on him is elevate his head a little bit. And let me show you how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and Command J, so I'm working on a secondary layer. And I'm going to do Edit, Puppet Warp. Puppet Warp is going to give me the ability to put anchors down around the image of things that I don't want to move. And that way I can take a point here and move him over just a little bit. Now be aware it's moving my background, so I'm definitely going to have to chat about that and make sure that it's not distorted. But that is going to be pretty helpful just in giving him a little bit more elevation. So beginning, end on that. Again, I'm going to flatten my layers. Okay, I flatten a lot in between. I know not everybody does. And then just clone out and make sure we're good to go here. So he's got really good shape, a really good eye connection, eye contact, I should say. And let's go ahead and finish off this image. So I love to go head to toe on my babies. First thing I'm going to do is use, this is just from our line here, Focus on Me. Kind of pull those eyes into focus. I'm going to go down through and pick off anything funky monkey, flakes or things of that nature. We try to control this in studio. I mean, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So it's no problem to go back through and just make sure everything looks really, really super polished. Alrighty. And now that that's all set, I'm going to get rid of just a little bit of the red between his eyes. I'm just going to go at 30% on a brush there. Much better. I don't know if you can tell. I'm going to go down to 20%. Just get rid of a little bit of it on this hairline. Perfect. And then I'm gonna go in here and just do a little portraiture. Selecting his skin tones. It'll make a new layer for me. That's how my settings are set. And I'm probably just going to take that down to like 70%. And then the last little piece that I'm going to do here is just take care of this background. So my favorite thing to kind of help smooth out that background actually isn't an action that we have, but rather one of Erin's actions. And she has an action called You Pick. I'm going to play it. I'm going to select the background color. And you can see that it just kind of creates a little bit of smoothness back there. So before, after, I'm going to make sure that I go in 100%, take it off the baby. 30% once we get down here. I don't mind a little fade. And that's it. We have our edit. Okay. Any questions? Hit me up. Later.